It's summertime. Time to be going out more and wearing less. At least I will be. But with more skin exposed, some of you guys were like, you know what? I need my skin to be, my body skin to be more even. And I got you. We're talking inner thighs, under the arms, the knees, the elbows, knuckles, toes, the booty, bra straps, and even the ankles, right? All those places that I just named, right? Here's the thing, unless you plan on walking around like the Walking Dead for the rest of your life, a lot of those places are naturally discolored in order to facilitate movement. And some of them are darker because of friction that, we'll talk about the friction though, because some of it can be controlled and prevented, but you know, we'll talk about it. Now, I hate to be a Debbie Downer right at the beginning of the video, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, chances are that, you know, the watch time goes but stay with me, y'all, stay with me. Another thing to understand about body discoloration, right, is that it can take a lot longer to fade than facial discoloration, right? The skin on the body is a little bit different than the skin on the face. So it's gonna take some time and patience to fade that discoloration. However, there are six things that you can do to keep your body skin in the best condition possible. And here's number one. And note that some forms of body discoloration come from medical conditions, which you should talk to your doctor about. And these are not in any particular order, but number one, y'all have got to chill with them boiling ass hot showers, especially in the wintertime. Oh, it feels so good. You burning your skin. Not only that, hot water zaps skin of its moisture, right? So when your skin is already being dry and run down in the wintertime because it's so cold and you got the indoor heat going and that dries out the skin, and then you're wearing a lot of materials and fabrics that also, you know, dries out the skin and makes it a little itchy and da-da-da-da-da-da. And the same thing can happen in the summertime, right? You know, the skin's not as dry in the summertime, but chill, y'all. Now, the thing is, there are a lot of things that lead to hyperpigmentation. I'm just gonna rattle off a couple. Bug bites, scratches, friction, acne.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
I used to be able to rattle these off a little faster, but you know, it's getting up there in age, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? But one of the things that can lead to hyperpigmentation is dryness. So yeah, dry ass can be leading to further discoloration. So keep that in mind. So chill with the boiling ass hot showers. See, I can't even talk properly just thinking about them hot ass showers. Like one time I got in the shower, right? And I had not realized that I had it all the way on hot, and the way that it singed my skin, I was just like how y'all regularly take showers in that, right? Now, here's the thing. Y'all be dramatic as too, because you hear me say no boiling ass hot shower and you immediately think that I'm saying take an ice cold shower. That's not what I'm saying. Just turn the water temperature down. Turn it down. It can still be nice and warm and toasty. It just don't need to be boiling hot, okay? And you know what else you can do? You don't want to waste water, but if you're like, what you can do is you can turn the shower on with your boiling ass hot water, let it steam up the surroundings so it feels like all nice and toasty, but then before you put your naked skin in there, turn the water temperature down, okay? Sheesh, man, while we're at it, while you're in the shower, bathe with a nice moisturizing body wash or beauty bar, right? Because them soaps ain't it. The Dial soap, the Irish Spring, even them is it Dr. Bronner? I'm thinking of Bonner Brothers. You know who I'm talking about, the Castile soap people. That stuff can be really drying on the skin, so take heed. You want something nice and moisturizing. If you're someone with particularly sensitive skin, look for things that are fragrance free, because then, you know, fragrance can be a top irritant. I'd go fragrance free in the wintertime because my skin just can't take any additional it just can't take it, right? My skin was really dry in the winter. In the summertime and in the spring, that's, you know, when I bring out all my fragrance faves. But Yeah. Also some options on the screen that you can check out. They'll be both linked in the YouTube shopping, which, you know, pops up on the screen, but I'll also link them in the description below. Now, number 2, moisturize. And the best time to do so is while your skin is a little damp. Typically, you know, after a shower, towel off just a little bit, leave a little hydration on the skin, put that moisturizer on. That's gonna lock in that moisture. Now, you do need to vary a moisturizer depending on the time of year. Now, obviously, you could wear a thick body butter in the summer, but I don't know, me, I can't do that. Maybe in the nighttime. But you know, in the summertime, you're probably looking for something more along the lines of a lotion. In the winter, probably something more of like a thicker cream. A couple of things to look for in a good body moisturizer. Look for ceramides. These are going to help repair and protect the skin's barrier. You also want to look for fatty acid oils. These are going to help to prevent that transepidermal water loss. It's going to keep the skin nice and supple. And fatty acid oils also help with discoloration and hyperpigmentation. Now, not like an immediate kind of thing. This is kind of like an over time kind of thing. Because remember I said body discoloration takes some time to fade. However, doing things like this can help protect the skin so it's less susceptible to discoloration and hyperpigmentation. So some of my personal faves in the winter include the La Roche-Posay Lipikar body lotion. There's also a body balm, I believe. There's a lotion, there's a balm. The lotion you can use, you know, in the warmer month. It's not extremely heavy where you feel like you're gonna be like sweating it off. La Roche-Posay Lipikar also comes in a face and body wash that you could use as well. I also like the Eucerin Eczema Relief body wash and lotion, and I believe there's a cream as well. Eucerin has a really thick cream that's really nice for very dry eczema prone skin, which sometimes my skin gets a little on the eczema prone side in the winter. And I also like the Aveeno Skin Relief body lotion and wash. Now in the summertime, that's when I start playing around with like all the fragrances and everything. Like I literally have been doing nothing but buying scented body lotions and body mist. As a matter of fact, I had to stop myself because Bath & Body Works just had a couple things on sale for like $3.95 or whatever. And I had to stop myself from ordering the cotton candy, what is it called? Cotton candy rounds, cotton candy clouds. Now I done bought a body mist and a body lotion. Also, there are retinol products that you can use on the body. These are gonna help with discoloration. It's also gonna help with the look and texture of the skin as well. So Naturium has, I believe they have both a retinol body wash and a body lotion. I believe I've seen that. I know I've tried something retinol body from Naturium. Paula's Choice also has a retinol body treatment. Olay has a retinol body wash. Now you might be thinking like a retinol body wash makes no sense because, you know, all the actives are just gonna, you know, be rinsed down the drain. That's actually not true. In certain formulations for retinol body washes and facial washes, there is something that they can formulate that kind of, you do reap the benefits of the active ingredient. Now it's not, you know, the same way that you would reap it if it was a serum or a lotion, but you reap it. At any rate, I will link all of those here on the screen as well as in the description box so you can check them out. Now, the third thing that you want to do to get that even body skin is you want to exfoliate regularly. Now, notice I said regularly and not twice a day, every day, right? Chill when it comes to the exfoliation. Y'all be doing the most and you wind up doing the least for your skin because you just be like just jacking your ish. Now keep in mind, a lot of things that we already do to our skin counts as exfoliation. So you bathe in with your washcloth, that counts as exfoliation. Bathe in with the African net, that is exfoliation. Bathe in with the loofah, that is exfoliation. Heck, going like this with your hands, that counts as a form of exfoliation as well too. So, you know, chill. Then of course you got your chemical exfoliants like your glycolic acid, salicylic acid, your lactic acid, and even your retinol. Now while there's some semantics with it, retinol doesn't exfoliate, but it does help to increase the turnover process. So that in and of itself can be a form of exfoliation as well. Some products to try out. Naturium makes amazing exfoliating body washes. They're not very expensive. They come in really nice packaging. You can get them at Target. So I'll link those up here as well as in the description as well. There's also the good old Neutrogena Body Acne Wash. That's also an option. There's other things that you can use. There's Topicals has a AHA, BHA roll-on. I'll add that up here and in the description as well. Inkey just came out with a glycolic acid stick. It kind of looks like a deodorant stick and you can kind of rub it on the body. That's also something that you could try out. Now, if you wanted to kill two birds with one stone and be able to exfoliate and moisturize at the same time, Amlactin is a brand that pretty much specializes in lactic acid products. They have a whole line, like whether you want something as thin, I wouldn't say thin, but maybe something as light as a lotion, or if you need like a thick, rough, I believe the name of one of their products is like for rough skin. And that's something that you can put on your elbows and your knees to kind of help with the rough skin there. Now, keep in mind, a little discoloration. I just said, I just talked about that. Some of this discoloration is absolutely normal. So don't go crazy trying to get it all, one color, because you wind up hurting yourself doing that, Anyway, number 4, spot treatments. Now, there aren't a ton of over-the-counter body treatments that fade discoloration as much as you would see the ones for the face. There are a few out there. Topicals has their faded mist that you can use. There's also the body discoloration treatment from, what is that brand? Good Molecules. I will link that on the screen as well as in the description box for you. Now, one of the reasons why body discoloration products can be a little like, you have to be so patient and you have to be consistent. And it's because the percentage of the active that you would need to really make a difference in your skin, I have not seen sold over the counter. And that's probably for a good reason. Because I do feel like not that I do feel like, it's the truth. There's a huge difference between, using products on the small area of your face and, using those type of actives and then using them all over your body. So something to think about. However, like I said, some of the body discoloration treatments that are available include those from Good Molecules and Topicals. I will link them in the YouTube shopping as well as in the description. But, keep in mind, like I said, it's going to take some time and some consistency. And those discoloration treatments that I mentioned are geared more towards the superficial kind of level 1 kind of discoloration. So it's like the type of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation that you would get from things like a bug bite, my clumsy behind constantly bumping into things, getting scratched by my cat, the type of discoloration that comes, after acne. And again, when it comes to discoloration, it is best treated when the discoloration is still fresh. So the fresher and newer the discoloration is, the easier it is to treat. Older discoloration, like I've said many times before, it kind of heads into the level 2 territory. And when you get into the level 2 territory, actually check out this video here so that we can keep this one like kind of somewhat short and concise. But check this out because, this video goes into really good detail about level 1, level 2, and what you need to do and, how to adjust. So check that out. So number 5, sunscreen. Ain't no ways around it. You gotta wear your sunscreen. Now, here's the thing. Sunscreens for the body have definitely evolved. You've got so many great formulas that look beautiful on the skin. You've got sunscreen body oils, you've got butters, you've got lotions with shimmer, you've got sheen. Like, there's so many amazing options out there for body sunscreen. Now, of course, remember that sunscreen alone is not going to be, sufficient for your sun protection repertoire. You also might want to look into sun protective clothing, but also doing common sense things like seeking shade wherever possible. Stop laying your ass out in the sun for too long. You could be out there and enjoy yourself, but don't OD. Step into the shade for a little bit. Put on a big old hat, some big sunglasses. Like, enjoy the elements, because I know my behind is gonna be outside with, see me, I'm gonna be outside with barely anything on though. I'm gonna be like, but I ain't gonna hurt them too much, so I'm gonna go inside for a little bit and I'm gonna come back out like, but I think you get the point. So yes, like I said, practice common sense, safe sun practices, getting in the shade, trying to avoid the sun when it's at its hottest, which I think they say it's from 10 to 2. So try to not be outside between 10 and 2 because that's when the sun is just like, if you can help it. Of course, you know, some people have jobs and, you know, other obligations that do require them to be outside in the sun during those times. And if you are outside in the sun during those times, especially be smart about putting on your sunscreen, reapplying every 2 hours, wearing your sun protective clothing, seeking your shade. And we're gonna move on to number 6. Now, as I mentioned before, there comes to a point where over-the-counter treatments are just not going to do what you're looking for them to do when it comes to discoloration on your face as well as your body. And when it gets to that point, you're going to want to see a professional. And the professional definitely needs to be somebody who is well-vetted and is well-versed in skin of color. Now, they don't have to be of color to know what to do with skin of color, but my goodness, make sure you vet these people like, I don't know, like vet them. No. But you need to make sure that you fully research these people. Now, I don't know what it is about me that makes it seem as if like I know dermatologists all over the country, but y'all be in my DMs, emailing me and whatnot, talking about, do I know a dermatologist in Wyoming or Texas? So I don't. But I do have this video right here where I tell you how to find a skin of color professional near you. Some helpful tips, but I don't know. I know a lot of people, but I don't know everybody. So, and even when I know the people, I be scared to refer people to y'all because some of y'all just be coming back blaming me for stuff. Like, how I get in it? You ask me how I get in it. But anyway, when it comes to a pro, there are a number of treatments, prescription topical creams, chemical peels, lasers, but you definitely want, again, I cannot stress it enough that you need to go to someone who is well versed in skin of color because there's certain peels that we shouldn't be doing, there's certain lasers that we shouldn't be doing. But then you also don't want someone who's so overly cautious that they're taking your money and doing absolutely nothing. So, you know, do your research. So now, like I said, discoloration takes a long time to fade, as even longer on the body. And in the meantime, you're like, well, I'm trying to be outside with my little, you know, shorts on or my little top or whatever. What am I going to do, Danielle? And here's a couple of tips on how to cover it up. But then I'm also going to give you some tips on how to prevent some of the discoloration because some of it can be preventable. So let's get into it. So one of the easiest ways to kind of trick the eye into thinking that the skin looks a little bit more even is to add like a sheen of radiance on the skin. Now, it's not going to make the discoloration look invisible, but it kind of just gives the look of richer, radiant, healthier skin. So there are a couple of things that I personally love to use for this. There's the Osea Undaria body oil. Love it. I did a collaboration with them a couple months ago, and man, it has like this very nice citrusy scent. Oh, it smells so good, especially when you couple it with they have a body butter, but it's not very heavy. So you can, you know, put the body butter and then put the oil, or you can just put the oil. Now, if you're wearing it during the day, you definitely want to spray some sunscreen on top of that, or you can use a sunscreen body oil. So I've been trying out a couple of different, like doing demos and stuff like that. You might see some of them here on shorts, but you know, it might take a while for that to show up here on YouTube. But in the meantime, I'm going to be showing you some demos that I posted on Instagram, and I will link the products again in the YouTube shopping as well as in the description box. I also really love the Neutrogena Dry Touch sunscreen spray. Now, here's the thing with sunscreen sprays, like you can use them obviously, however, you have to use them correctly. So you're either going to spray them directly onto your body and then massage it into your skin with your hand, so that way you're not gonna miss any areas, but you gotta be like spraying, right? Because you want to make sure that you are getting adequate sun protection. But remember, I also said that there are other things that you should be doing to practice safe sun. Big hat, big sunglasses, seek shade, try to stay out of the sun between 10 and 2, sun protective clothing, yada yada. But I like that Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Dry Touch Sunscreen Spray. That's a mouthful because it leaves the most beautiful sheen on the skin, and the sheen actually lasts. And what I like about it is it kind of like forces you to reapply your sunscreen because you're just like, ooh, I need a little bit more shine on my skin. And then, you know, sometimes it's that hard to reach area in your back. And if you don't have somebody to put sunscreen on for you, a spray definitely comes in handy. You might not be able to kind of get back there to rub the spray in. So just go, like just go ham. Oh, and Kopari. Kopari is just coming out with the different colors and the shades of the sunscreen body oils. I'll link those as well too. So another camouflage option that you have is body makeup. Now, I recently did a partnership on Instagram with a company called Westmore Beauty, and they have this body coverage perfector. I wear shade Bronze Radiance, and then there's a Deep Radiance shade that's the next deepest shade. Now, initially I was like, oh no, I'm definitely the Deep Radiance, but I was like, why doesn't this product look as nice on me as it does on everybody else? And I was like, you know what, let me try this Bronze Radiance. And the Bronze Radiance looks like it would be too light just by looking at it. But once it blended into my skin, it was like very good match. So just be mindful of that. If you're closer to my skin tone, you probably might want to go with the Bronze Radiance. And then if you're deeper, the Deep Radiance. Although I feel like if I get a tan, which I do tend to be warmer in undertone, that the Deep Radiance will probably be like good match for me. Also, definitely get the brush that comes with it, because then you're gonna get a nice even application. There's no way that you're gonna be able to get an even application using your hands, because with your hands you're probably gonna have way too much on in certain areas and it's gonna look cakey and just not good. So get the brush and brush it, you know? Get to work. Now, here's the thing with makeup and transfer. I would say that nothing is completely transfer proof, because it may be transfer resistant at first when you first put it on, but if you go on about your day, say you get sprinkled by a little fire hydrant, or it rains a little bit, or you're sweating, or oil breakthrough, other ways of getting wet, I ain't judging. These are things that are going to make the makeup transfer, because like now it's wet, so the product is like activating. So I would say you have to be very cognizant when you're wearing makeup, whether it's on your face or on your body, because like I said, once the sweat, any kind of wetness comes in contact with the makeup, it can make it transfer. Now, there are things you can do to lessen the transfer. So when you put on the body coverage perfector, you put it on all over. First of all, let's back up. Do not put anything that has oil in it. You have to use oil-free products. They have an oil-free lotion. I haven't tried it, but you can find oil-free lotions, at the drugstore, wherever, right? Don't put anything with oil, because it's going to interfere with the way that the product needs to kind of set, right? Then you put the product on using that brush, you wait 10 minutes, you tissue off the excess, you wait another 10 minutes, and then you do your thing. Now, the Neutrogena Dry Touch Body Sunscreen Spray is oil free, so I put that on top of it. Man, can't nobody tell me nothing. Now, I'm not gonna wear body makeup on my body every single day. I don't even wear makeup on my face every single day. But, if there's a special occasion, a photo shoot, whatever it is, it's an option. Now, let's talk very quickly about prevention, because one of the best ways to treat discoloration is not to get that mess in the first place. Now, some of it is not preventable, especially underneath the arms and between the thighs. You're walking, that skin on skin is going to cause friction that is going to create the discoloration underneath there. Some of it is inevitable. Another thing too, like if you're constantly shaving, removing the hair, these are also things that like the ingrown hairs, sometimes the hair removal product itself can cause some discoloration, especially if you're a little irritated by it. So just be mindful of that. I have a whole video on laser hair removal and electrolysis, check that out. Right now, if you were to start laser hair removal, it's a little late for it to be done before summer, because you do need a number of sessions. I would say 8 to 12 at first, and then you might need maintenance sessions after, and then the sessions have to be spaced out 6 weeks apart. So I mean, you can get started now so that maybe by this time next year you'll be good. But definitely check out this video on laser hair removal and electrolysis, because it's gonna break some stuff down for you so that you have that information. But another thing that you can do to prevent is to create a barrier where you can. Now, I don't know about any barriers for underneath the arms. Sometimes some deodorants can help. Sometimes there are deodorants that help with discoloration, as well as they, provide you with some protection from the sweat and the odor and whatnot. But be mindful. One of the reasons why sometimes people get discoloration underneath their arms is because maybe something in their deodorant is irritating them. Now, I know people like the natural deodorants, but sometimes they're made with baking soda, or maybe they might might be another ingredient that you might be allergic to. Everybody's different. But in particular, the baking soda though would wind up irritating a lot of people. So just be mindful that what you're putting underneath your arms could be, you know, adding to it. So be careful. That's another way of preventing it. But like I was gonna say, I don't know of anything that can, you know, make a barrier underneath the arms, but I for sure know something that can help in between the thighs. And you can either use something like, you can use deodorant, you can use something like a chub rub, you can use something, what's it called? Body Glide is another product. You can also just use some bike shorts or some Spanx or any kind of like shaping garment that provides a barrier between your skin. So that way, like all of the friction is probably happening with the garment. Now, depending on what you're doing for the day, I don't know what y'all be doing in the summertime. You playing football, you tackling, you walking a lot or whatever. You could create so much friction that your barrier does get deteriorated. Deteriorated is such a funny word. Just be mindful that you get something with a really good stretchy material, durable, that you can put on to kind of prevent the thighs from rubbing together. Now, of course, mind the ingredients and the material, because if you're gonna put something on that's gonna irritate you, that could cause further discoloration as well. Some other things that you can do to kind of help prevent some common forms of discoloration: bug spray. A lot of us, you know, the goddamn mosquitoes, and every year I feel like there's like a new strain of bug coming out. Side note, like I saw something on the Your NYC Instagram page about some big dirty spider with big legs and they fly, and I'm like, please let that be a hoax. Because I'm gonna need that to be a hoax, because if I see that, I'm never going outside again. But anyway, bug spray definitely helps to, you know, limit how much bug bites you're getting, which therefore limits some of the discoloration that can come from a bug bite. Now, there's also like that clothing friction. Like for me, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you can see that. Ow, my arm. I'm sure you guys can see that. Before I got my breast reduction, I used to wear some big, thick bras with big thick bra straps, and then my sports bras would have even thicker bra straps, right? So I still have a lot of the discoloration there. That's gonna take some time to eventually fade, if it even fades. I don't know. I haven't really been like actively trying to like get rid of it. Every now and again I might put a little dark spot formula from agency on there just to be like, but it's not, you know, like sometimes I forget. Anyway, so now that I don't have to wear such thick bra straps, it won't keep, you know, making that indentation here. So at least like it won't look as crazy in a couple of months. But something you can probably do is, you know, put a little bit of Aquaphor or even some of that like Body Glide or something in the area, so that the straps of the clothing isn't like digging into your skin or constantly, you know, having friction there. That's a little tricky because sometimes there's nowhere around it, because like if you've got, you know, a large bust, you sometimes you're gonna want something to, you know, hold them up, you know what I mean? But also that might be helpful around the ankle area, or also be cognizant of the type of socks that you wear. Like I love very fuzzy socks, especially like when I'm around the house. Like I don't have them on now, but I'll like wear them with my Crocs, like if my feet get a little cold. But I was wearing anklet fuzzy socks and it kept leaving like a line of discoloration around my ankle. So what I do now is I wear like the lower one, so that it's like a little wider and it's lower, so it's not really like causing that tightness or that friction and creating that discoloration around my ankle. But you can also try to put like a little Aquaphor or Body Glide or what's the other one, Chub Rub, around the area, so that, you know, you kind of create that barrier so that the fabric isn't constantly rubbing against your skin. Hello you guys, it's Future Me here, and I know some of you are probably thinking while you're watching this video, but what about those kojic acid and turmeric soaps that you see all over TikTok? Because people are using them to lighten the inner thighs and the booty and all of this other places and whatnot, right? What about those? I'm actually going to have a video specifically on them soaps, because there's a lot we need to talk about, and we will talk about it, just not here, so keep watching. Now you might be like, but Danielle, you ain't mentioned no punane in this video. Now, that's because there is a whole video on that. I got a gynecologist and a dermatologist to chime in. That video is, when did I do that? Maybe a year or two ago. Still really great information. I don't think I would have any time to update it. Even if I did try to update it, there aren't really that many updates, so check that video out. Now, preventing body discoloration can be a little, difficult. Now, for me, preventing facial hyperpigmentation is a lot easier than me preventing body discoloration. And I actually talked about two relatively simple things that I have done over the years that have helped me to rarely ever get dark spots within the last 10 years from the last time I had a really bad bout with dark spots. Now, I'm talking about it in this video right here. Click on it and I'll see you there.